Hello, today we want to talk about the differences you would find between a traditional preschool and a Montessori preschool.
So there's a few big differences that we see between the two different programs. The first is that in a traditional preschool or pre-K program, the children would move in small groups between stations or centers. So there would be different areas in the classroom, and there would be groups of 4 or 5 kids maybe, and they would work at one center for a set amount of time until the teacher asked them to move to the second center, and they would keep going around the classroom until they've hit every center.
In a Montessori classroom, you would see that each child is working individually. They would either be with their work on a mat on the floor, or they would be at a table. They may possibly be working with a teacher, but it's very independent. You might see them working in groups, but the groups are picked by themselves, and so it would be like, do you want to work with me? And they're working with their friends.
You could also see older kids helping the younger kids, and groups forming that way, or they're interested in what the other child is doing, so then they form a group. But it is always, I would say 90% of the time, it's because the children have formed the group themselves. The second difference we see is that in a traditional preschool, they would have aged classrooms. So if your child was 2 years old, they would be in the 2-year-old classroom. All their other friends would be 2 years old. And then when they turned 3, they would then be moved into the 3-year-old classroom. And again, all their friends would be 3 years old.
Montessori preschools can have an age range from 2.5 to 6 years old. Our classroom is 3 to 5, and we see such benefit of having a mixed age classroom. Children tend to listen to other children more easily, and so we see that they're able to help each other better than a teacher would be able to help an individual child. You see the younger ones striving to be as good or as hardworking as the older children, and you see the older children become leaders in the classroom and helping the younger children. And so there are a lot of benefits of having multiple ages in a classroom.
And the third big difference we see between traditional and Montessori classrooms is that in a traditional pre-K classroom, the materials that you would find on the shelves is very imagination or play centered. So you would have maybe some blocks at the first center, and the kids would be building maybe a castle, and so they're using their imagination, they're trying to build a building. Then they would move on, maybe they have a set of dinosaurs, and so they're thinking in their head, they're creating the scenario of what's happening with the dinosaurs. Are they fighting? Are they trying to save somebody? So it's very much about what the child can think of using their imagination.
In a Montessori classroom, it is very centered on work and reality. We never want to baby the children, so we don't have cartoons around our classroom or in our works. Everything is always realistic and taken from nature, because nature itself is such a wonder, and children love that, and so that's where we find our images. We do have time for play and imagination. They have recess, we'll do games sometimes, but during the work cycle, which is traditionally 3 hours, that is for work, and that is for the child to concentrate and for the child to learn and for them to see the world around them and experience it.
And children really do love to work. It's in their nature to want to be able to do things themselves, and they want to be able to do it well. So all the materials in our classroom are built so that the children can do it by themselves. It has a control of error, so they can check their work. They don't need a teacher to come tell them if they've done it right or wrong, and they can do it independently, and that really instills confidence and independence in each of the children.
Both of us previously have taught in traditional schools, and coming to the Montessori way of teaching, we have seen such an improvement in the way our children learn and the experiences they have, and such a new role for us as teachers.